So I just hopped off a call with a client and we were talking about essentially low conversion rates on the site. Okay. And when she explained to me what she was actually doing, it made sense about where she was actually going wrong. So hopefully I can provide some value as to how she was looking at this and how we need to look at it in order to grow our business, because this honestly is killing e-commerce brands' growth, right? So this particular client sells pet food, and we were looking at a specific landing page, right, where she's sending a lot of traffic, and she was saying, look, my conversion rate is 1%, okay? Really bad. I really want to increase this. What have I got to do? I've got to, obsess over this page. Anyway, we had a look at the page, and honestly, it looked quite good. It was similarly optimized from things we'd spoken about before. The site was converting quite well on a whole, but this particular page was converting at a much lower rate. And so upon looking at, a couple of one or two minor changes that honestly wouldn't make a huge amount of difference because she'd set things up quite well, we started to have the conversation about this micro versus macro. And so my question became, what is the site actually converting at overall? And she said it was something around 3.25%. I said, okay, cool. So taking a step back, the micro we're looking at right here is 1%, right? That's that landing page that you're talking about. The macro level is about 3.25% in its entirety, including that page, that plus everything else that is actually coming through. And so by seeing that bigger picture, we're able to basically start to converse around the advantages of looking micro, right? Looking in the weeds, looking really tight, but then the disadvantage is obviously doing so as well. Getting so obsessive, wasting so much time trying to, I'm not going to say optimize something that's not worth optimizing. I'm just saying trying to zero down on something that is not the most important thing right now. Okay. Because the biggest mistake that brands make or people make is focusing on a lower priority than what is the top priority. Okay. And she just couldn't see that because she was seeing the 1% conversion rate. But the bigger picture, the macro was 3.25%, which is absolutely fine. It's actually a great conversion rate. And so for her, it was about, okay, cool. Conversion rate is not your issue right now. Don't obsess over it anymore. Traffic. Now, the other thing to this point was, it was like that we found out was that she was driving a lot of cold traffic from ads to this page. And so that's another consideration. And so once she had revealed that to me, I said, okay, yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense, right? And it's actually more important that we don't focus on the little kind of tweaks and trying to get this to 3% the way the rest of the site is, because the cold traffic's coming through and there's a consideration phase to buy the product, right? There's a period of time that people take to convert. They need to be retargeted. They need to do right? And so again, when we looked at the traffic levels of that page specifically to other pages, collections, to again, the whole site, it was increased. It was quite high because we were actually paying to drive traffic to that site. Obviously engaged traffic, we use the right, objective. When it comes to meta ads, it's the sales objective, of course, but traffic meaning we were sending people to site from using paid ads. And so that was literally the coldest audience that was coming to her site. They were going to that specific page. And like I said, it was quite a aha, right, I get it now. Again, with my experience, with my view, my 10,000 foot view of businesses, and being able to see, what we call blended metrics and obviously see mistakes that I've made in the past so I can pass them on. It was like, perfect. Okay, that reaffirms exactly what I said before, that we don't need to worry about this page. You can continue to drive relevant engaged traffic to site because those people are going to have a look around. Maybe they're even buying somewhere else on site and that's contributing to the 3.25%. How do we know that? Well, it's about actually tracking, when did you put the ads on to drive this page? When did that start to obviously increase the traffic volumes? During that period of time since, has the traffic increased by X amount? Have the sales increased by Y amount, right? It's a really simple thing. When we turned ads on to go to that page, did sales increase or did they remain the same? Spending more. And she actually said that sales had increased. In fact, she's had one of her best months ever, essentially hit her first 10K. And so it's really important to know the difference between micro analysis and macro analysis is the point of this conversation. Because if we get too caught in the weeds, if she didn't have my advice or she didn't have the support to be able to ask this question, she literally could have obsessed over trying to optimize that page for weeks or months and remain stuck and stagnated because it wouldn't happen. I'm not saying it wouldn't happen, but there's a pretty good chance you wouldn't get that jump from 1% to 3% that's across the site. And so she'd be just getting frustrated here, not focusing on driving more traffic, not focusing on getting more people through, and in the end, killing the business or hamstringing the business because that wasn't the focus or the priority right now. Driving more sales, relevant, engaged traffic to site, even if it's that page, that will come out in the wash and ultimately convert at 3+%, 3.25%. And so that's a really just important thing to see. Like I kind of mentioned, that if you're focusing on anything other than the highest priority in your business, you're holding yourself back. It's actually killing your growth. It's keeping you stuck. And so you need to be able to see the relationships between traffic, conversions, lifetime value. It's something I call the magic 3. Anything to do with driving sales and revenue for a successful brand is traffic, conversions, and lifetime values. And so knowing what umbrellas to be focusing on as that priority number 1 is crucial. Okay. Yes, we tighten some screws here and there, but it becomes this pendulum where it's like, cool, traffic. All right, now it's at a dangerous level. I got to focus on conversions. Okay, now I've fixed that. Go back to traffic. And we keep penduluming back and forth. And that's just the nature of our business. The challenges don't go away. And if you think they are going to go away, then you're in for a rude shock and you won't last long, honestly, in business. Okay, it's literally all about problem solving as you move on. The best thing is, though, with experience, that you get better at dealing with them, okay? And you get way more objective and faster at it. Okay, that's kind of what I've learned. I look forward to challenges. I look forward to problems. I literally do it, now with my community. I walked into it basically helping people deal with their challenges within their businesses. And you just have to embrace it, okay? And so, but knowing where to identify is the most important thing. Having clarity on what it is, and then what you then need to go and do is everything to getting that level of success. And as I said, you can hear how micro we were going with this conversation with this particular client. And I just mentioned she just hit a record month and she's going to do the same thing next month and probably the same thing next month. Who knows? But she's able to put her micro analysis to the side for the betterment of the business. And she's able to get that feedback from myself and other people in our community and obviously other mentors as well, which is giving her a lot of peace of mind, reducing her anxiety and overwhelm, and making her a lot better operator as a business owner. Okay, so look, hopefully that was helpful to be able to see the forest for the trees, looking at micro versus macros, how it can really kill your business and your scale if you're focusing too much on the micro. It can be, I've been there, right? It can be hugely detrimental. So just be aware and lean on people where possible. Okay, so look, I hope this was valuable for you. If it was, love a like, love a subscribe. If you want to know more about how we help e-commerce brands, you click on the link below. But other than that, thanks for watching till the end, and I'll catch you in the next one.